Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 447. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Brett Murdoch.
What up?
And Brian Manjoma.
What up, what up?
All right, people, we're back with another one. Off the top of the show, if I sound different tonight, apologies. I just got a new mic and I haven't adjusted the settings, so hashtag deal with it, as Adam Orth would say, you know?
And by the way,
speaking about Adam, he is not joining us because he is still in Staten Island land, even though, like Manny said, he probably could have joined us. He's just, you know.
He could have joined us. So we like, here's the thing. He's still staying up till, like, late at night, you know, all that stuff. Like, when we were over there, he was still late, so.
Yeah.
He could have fired it all up.
Also, by the way, people, I have potentially good news for everyone regarding the mic situation. Because of this new mic, I have a mute right here, which means I will no longer accidentally mute myself. I took that hotkey off the keyboard. We're good now. I'll never go on another rant again that you guys can't hear, you know?
Yeah,
but I got to go in and adjust the settings because apparently I don't sound right, you know? So we'll get it next time, people. We'll get it next time.
well, let us know in the chat what you guys think. Also,
let me know. Let me know if I sound all right, man. Motherfuckers already. Yeah, you got a new mic, son. Anyway, I'm Carlos. I kept cutting you off, man. What's up?
No, I that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. Let me know, people. Let me know, and be real about it. Don't just be nice. Like, oh, Tony, you sound good. You always sound good. You know,
you good.
You know, yo, man. So Manny. So yesterday went to Adam's mom's place and stuff. You know, Manny. I was hanging out with Manny's family. Good times. You know, and then it was just easier for Manny to just hang out with me, you know, stay at my place last night. So this morning we went to the city, and both of us forgot the Dominican parade was going on. We got out the city, shit. We see fucking Dominican flags everywhere, you know? I was like, what the fuck? And it's like, oh shit. That explains why Mike wished me a happy Dominican Day. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, you know?
Yeah. We literally, a few seconds after he sent that text message, we're like walking over. Well, no, he sent it earlier. Then we in the middle of this, when we were on the Avenue of the Americas on 42nd, you know, we saw it because that's right where the parade route is. So there you go.
I made my mic a little louder because Logic Win said I sounded too low.
Really?
He said if I sounded louder, it would be perfect. But how about now? I turned it up a little bit more, and I see on my mic levels I'm actually hitting the red like I'm supposed to, you know? But yeah, good times, man. Dominicans, bunch of hot girls everywhere, you know? Wepa, you know, all that shit, you know, mango, platanos, you know, it's good stuff, man. All right, there we go. He says it's good.
All right, he's pretty. Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. You know, it's funny.
Mighty Nerd says, you sound crystal clear, but the other guy's mics are louder.
Really?
Interesting. Oh, he said
it's not so much you don't sound clear. You just kind of sound like you're in a bathroom, bro.
Interesting. Do I sound all muffled and shit? Like, hey man, I'm in the bathroom right now.
No, it's the opposite of that.
The opposite of sounding
the echoey of a bathroom. You mean?
Yeah. It's kind of more almost like you sound more echoey and hollow.
You know what? When I was doing a mic test, Brett, I did hear that. I guess because we also moved the whole desk, so there's actually just nothing here, and right now it's just fucking empty. You know, so maybe when I get a desk, I order a desk that'll help that out. You know what I should do? I should get some of those sound foam things, like put them around here.
Those foam panels, man. Those things are the tits.
You know what, Manny? Now that we got this where it's supposed to be and shit, I think we'll do that. You know, it'll be good.
Yeah, well, next time. I mean, you know, next time I'm down there. I mean,
yeah. Oh, by the way, real quick,
next weekend.
I got to thank Manny for something. I finally got my baby on my desk because I was on the fucking floor the whole time. My PC, you know.
Oh. And it's also a familiar color. It's Throwdown blue.
It is Throwdown blue. Check it out. Yeah, because I was gonna have all that gay rainbow stuff, you know. So we got this, you know, good stuff here, man. All right. Anyway, we got questions. Yeah. By the way, people, don't worry. I'll adjust the mic. Brett, you got it right. He said you described my sound perfectly. So I will invest in sound foaming. And Manny, that may be a project for the future. Maybe this weekend. We'll see. You know.
Yeah, I'll be in the area.
Yeah. All right, people, let's get into it. I mean, we got questions, man. We will have your financials. Chris, these motherfuckers, man, before the show even started, they're asking for the financials. You know? It's crazy. You know what? All right, Chris, you want to do it, man? You want to give the people what they want?
Yeah, I can do
Yeah.
that.
All right. Well, I will say this though. I pulled rank, and I'm asking the question, man. Tony Polanco asks, Chris, can you break down the financials?
Sure. Here, wait, hold on a second. Share my screen.
I'm pulling that rank. I'm asking questions. My show. All right, let's go.
You throwing it down?
You throwing it down? All right, so this is Sony, right?
Yeah, this is Sony's report.
Let's go.
So I'll just do the overall real quick, and then I'll go to PlayStation. So, can you see my screen? I don't know why the thing is beeping up and down. Is it shared?
Yes.
Yes. Adjusted income Q1.
Okay. So for Sony in general as a global entity, their their operating income and adjusted income is down overall, but that is due to factors outside of any of the major portions of the entities. I think it's due to really their financial arm, and they were having some sort of issue. So that is not a problem with PlayStation or Sony Pictures or Imaging. Actually, all those are up. But overall, I don't know. I have to go into report. It says recording of profit resulting from changes in interest rates related to variable life insurance. So that caused a decrease in their operating profit for this quarter. And it says recording gain from the sale of real estate, but that they attribute it as a negative. I don't know what real estate they were talking about, but that is not really a factor overall in what we normally look at. So let me go to this breakdown. And I didn't have time. I usually put together a pie chart to visualize all this. I didn't have time to do this, but overall, PlayStation itself and most of the segments are doing well. PlayStation saw a 167.8 billion yen increase in, that's about 22% year over year from last quarter, and their operating income, while it was down, um, I'll have to explain these terms. So what they started recently doing in their reports, and major factor probably at investors' behest, is including an OIBDA. An adjusted OIBDA is operating income before depreciation and amortization. So if you take your operating income, which is your gross income, the total profit that you get, your gross profit, and then you deduct the cost of business. So any marketing, any sales expenses, anything like that, you get your operating income. But if you want to get a clearer picture of the business, what you also have to remove from that is any type of fixed asset purchases or interest rates on debt, right, that the company has. So any loans that the company has withstanding, any interest rate they're paying on that, usually they'll exclude that and say, hey, this is not part of the core business, or factor it into how we're performing. So we're going to take that out, and that's your OIBDA value. So their OIBDA they include in this report shows that year over year it's increased. So I don't know how much of it's about maybe 25 or 30 billion yen, but I don't know what that's attributed to, if it's interest rates or if it's that they made a lot of fixed real estate purchases, or fixed assets could be anything, right? It could be equipment, buildings, office supplies, who knows? But I don't know what it is, but it has increased from last year, or whatever. It could be R&D stuff, who knows? But overall, their overall sales has increased, but their operating income was down. And let me go to the slide for that. Here we go. game and network services. So they attributed their increase in sales on non-first party titles, including add-on content, and they said increased sales of hardware. So PS5 overall is selling a better impact of foreign exchange rates, so the yen doing stronger against the dollar and the euro. Their operating income, they said that they had an increase in cost mainly due to the impact of acquisitions, including Bungie. So that's a big portion of debt that the company has to take in, because when you acquire a company, you have to acquire their debts as well, right? And you acquire the people, and then you make adjustments afterwards. So you have the overhead of staff, you have the overhead of all of the expenses that you have to incur on their real estate and all that stuff. So they added that as a loss, right? But they said that they saw an increase in sales from non-proprietary titles. They listed that again. So their forecast, they actually adjusted it from their April forecast. So initially, their sales forecast was 8% under the current one. So they're predicting having a better year than originally thought, including that they think that they'll have improved game sales over last year and then improved hardware sales. So those are two things that they factored into this. And overall, like with a 20% increase in sales over last year, that's pretty good. I think that's why I adjusted it. So they don't see that trend slowing down, even though this is Q1 for them this year. But overall, they're doing well. The only segment I think that took a loss, besides the financial sector, which had increased sales, but they had their interest rate problem, was Sony Pictures took a big loss. So that was it. But music, even imaging and sensors, which is the camera division, and electronics and PlayStation all saw big sales increases, right? So overall, the company's doing well, and their own projections, they think they're going to do even better than they projected when the fiscal year started. So we'll see what happens, but they're pretty confident that they're in terms of PlayStation, they'll a good year.
Chris, do you think like the movie division, like it went down because they didn't have like a Spider-Man 3? Like, how like before, like I forget, the third Spider, whatever the fuck it was called. Like I know that helped them out a lot that fiscal year. So you think like not having something like that is what kind of like lowered the the numbers for Sony Pictures?
I'm curious myself. So let's look at Sony Pictures and let's see if we can figure that out. It's possible that they didn't have like quite a hit a blockbuster that was No Way Home.
Yeah, No Way. That's the one. Yeah.
They had Across the Spider-Verse, but that was May.
Yeah, I don't think that was this fiscal, the one we're doing now, right?
It was May. It released May 31st.
Yeah, it may not have impacted this report. So
it probably Blitz. It probably didn't impact this report.
Yeah, and that movie did do really good.
Yeah,
it didn't do a bill, but I think it was like still really good.
Yeah, it's weird.
By the way, I saw that movie last night. It was really good. Excuse me.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet myself. But you're probably right. I'm not sure why on this prospectus it's not on here. Should be a portion. Let me go.
Yo, man, I want another prospectus.
Yeah, right.
Well, at least I'll give it. Okay, so when I do these reports, right, the easiest ones for me to read are Sony and Nintendo's.
Yeah.
They're very straightforward. Sony does great breakdowns. I usually like to make a pie chart. As a matter of fact, I have it open somewhere.
Yo, you got them charts?
Well, I didn't have time to update it. So it's not ready. I could update it in the future. When I do the fiscal year report, I'll do the pie charts and my own breakdowns in US dollars and stuff. But the worst report to read, and now it's gotten even harder for me to read, is Microsoft's report, because they file a a special form, and that's where you have the nitty gritty numbers for each segment, right? They don't break down their segments. As a matter of fact, the only segment they break down to show you, which is a boon for them, is enterprise, Azure, and software, right? They don't put Xbox in there, so I have to dig into their official filings, and it's always at the end of the report, and so it's a pain in the ass, and uh, yeah, I'm gonna chalk up the Sony Pictures thing to, like you said, that you can see they're in the negative here. I'm just gonna say that you're probably right. They didn't have a hit like Far From Home, and Spider-Verse didn't come out in time to impact this. And I don't know why this segment isn't on the sheet. The music segment was in entertainment, but not pictures. So I can't say for sure.
Yeah. They don't want you looking at those numbers.
But PlayStation is doing well, and
Yeah.
every time I do this report, PlayStation has consistently done well and is consistently a revenue generator, usually generating a quarter or more of the profit for the entire company. So it's always been doing well for them.
Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah, I mean, no surprises here. It's like, oh shit, oh you broke it up. Oh yeah, no surprises here. Sony doing well. Especially PlayStation, obviously. So yeah, good stuff. There's your, Microsoft. We're not going to bother with those. It's like fix your shit, Microsoft. So Chris could have a better handle on that. Throwdown. Did you see the news that PlayStation not reporting sub numbers? No, I don't know. Oh, subscription numbers.
Oh yeah.
No. What was going on with that? Oh, by the way,
Yeah,
Chris, they're thanking you in the chat. So there you go. Thank you for that, man.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh wait. One second.
You mean like you mean for PlayStation Plus and all that stuff, the subscriptions?
Yes.
There's a lot of lack of transparency on that on all fronts. Everyone is guilty of, like,
it's all mystery numbers, right?
It's called the old thing, the fuzzy math, because whenever you have a boon of subscriptions, you have to ask what was your unsub rate for the same period, right?
Yeah.
And that's subscription, right? Because if you have, and that's the problem with like Disney Plus right now, Disney has to report those numbers. So if they have a net negative of subscriptions, you have 1 million people subscribing and 4.5 million people unsubscribing, then you have a net loss of 3.5 million subscribers. And that's a loss of a huge amount of money. Charging $10, $11 per head. That's, you're losing $45 million. So that's what you have to account for, and that is stuff that I'm sure an investor would ask on the call, like, hey, okay, what's your sub rate? What's your unsub rate? And then take the net, and it's like, okay, if it's positive, that's good. If you have a net negative sub rate, that's bad. Why are you losing people? And they don't often tell it to us because we're not asking, and then they're giving us a broad picture, right? They can always couch those numbers in terms of, like, we had profit adjustments and blah blah blah. And what's a profit adjustment? Well, it includes subscriptions, but they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to break that down.
I mean, to be honest, like, the only thing they'll probably be counting is the revenue that whatever it is making. And if the number doesn't seem like it's, obviously, since it's all folded into one bit of profit, into one profit or services or something like that, or whatever they want to call it, obviously then you can't see those as clearly as if they just said, hey, these are the subscription and unsubscription numbers.
Right. Yeah, it's all perception. Remember, they can't lie on financial statements, right? You cannot fabricate any of this, right? Because you could get audited and get in big trouble. So they have to couch stuff to have the perception. They're putting this out publicly, like I'm reading it, right? I'm not an investor. I'm not privy to those phone calls. But I can grab this report and start picking at it, right? So they have to couch stuff to make it look as good as possible, right? So if they start telling me, hey, your subscription, I see that your subscription rate, your unsub rate is very high. that's bad news. And I start reporting that, right? None other people pick up on that. That's no good. So they couch it in other things. I don't know if what Sony's subscription rate is either. So I can only assume that if it was really good or really well, they would have put it on as a bullet point for the operating income. It would have probably been a big bullet point.
Oh yeah. I mean, my guess, this is my theory that it's been plateauing. These sub numbers have been plateauing, and they're when you don't have the rate of growth that you once had, you just can't brag about it to get investors excited about buying into your company. And like Chris mentioned, there's nothing to brag about. And what these companies want to do is brag about everything. So usually when they're not bragging about something, it's like, oh, I wonder how their sub count is doing, and they're not talking about it. It's probably not that great.
Well, that's why Microsoft doesn't talk about Xbox numbers. Same deal,
Yeah. So they're, well, we know. Well, even though they're not saying anything about sub numbers. We know one thing: it's not going up. At least at that rate, that'll get people excited.
Isn't that what it always is about? It's about what somebody doesn't say that says a lot.
Yeah.
Like especially with big companies like this, where it's like, oh, they're oddly quiet about this specific thing that they were really into previously. Yeah, that's because they probably don't want to make anybody nervous, and it's the same, and it goes with any of those sorts of things, like even announcements too. They don't want to get people all riled up. That's why they didn't say all that stuff with the Call of Duty early on, whether it wouldn't be or be on anything. So I think that's the same sort of situation here. Where it's just like, it's in there. If you decide to look at the numbers, and you see that their numbers are you can't really separate them from the previous one, from what it is. But yeah.
All right, let's move on. Next question, also from me. I'm surprised none of the guys in the chat talked about this, man. I mean, you guys talked about it in the Discord, but you didn't ask us about it. Hopefully for the reason I hope it is for, because it's fucking bullshit. Do you guys believe that alleged video of the PS5 Slim that's going around, do you believe it's legitimate? Have you guys seen this video?
Is it the one that you sent us on the,
yes, it is.
The text chat?
Yep.
Yeah, why not?
I think it's bullshit.
I mean, it could be. I don't think it's as unrealistic as you think.
I'm not saying it's unrealistic. I'm just saying, let me break it down. I would caution people to just assume it's real when we live in the age of 3D printers. Let us not forget what happened with the Switch. All those 3D printed
look like a 3D printed Alda.
They were 3D printed. Remember
What's
those?
that?
Remember when the Switch was 3D printed? It looked real as fuck.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like 3D printing, like, and maybe I'm completely wrong because it's gotten better since last I've been paying attention. But you can generally, it's got like a grain, like it's got a resolution to it. And so for something to be that glossy and smooth, doesn't really seem like 3D printing.
Yeah, we could polish it
well,
again.
I mean, no, they
go
no.
ahead, Manny.
The thing about it is like even PLA printing, like like the PLA printing, not just with the cord printing, you can get it. They got it that good on that Switch one. And then the other thing I call into question is the validity of the source.
Yes, that's the other thing, Manny. You want to break that down, because I'm in complete agreement with you on this one.
Okay, so this person is just rando person number 5 who says that they're a developer on with absolutely nothing going on their page. They're supposedly developing something. And again, if you're developing for something for PlayStation, why would you be leaking the shell of this console that you're supposedly going to be the new console? That's literally could jeopardize your publishing deal.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and it's like if Sony is sending this to developers, they know who has it or not, right? Supposedly. So if this guy is putting this out there, they're gonna find his ass, and he just jeopardized his entire fucking studio.
Oh, hold up a sec. Why the fuck would Sony send a PlayStation 5 Slim to a developer?
So, that's the other question. It's like, why would
Brett? Yeah, there you go. Now you're asking the right questions.
Yeah, there's no reason for like it should run off basically the same system specs, and if they're different, you should be running off a dev kit. Like, why?
Exactly.
I thought this might have been leaked from like manufacturing, because like when you're manufacturing shit, it's tough to keep it quiet. But like, yeah, no, I don't need. I don't think that somebody sent you a dev PS5 Slim as a no-name developer. Like, bruh, come on.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. Like, the PS5 Slim is going to have the same internals, and you're supposedly an independent developer. Okay, bro. Okay.
Well, yeah,
bro.
like, so we're going to send you this hardware that's the same as our other hardware, just in a different form factor, so you can develop your software on it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ding 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 ding. You got it right. Why the hell are they going to send a dev kit?
I think we just debunked this shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carlos, I think we debunked this shit right here. Throwdown, man.
Throwdown has officially debunked the rumors.
Yeah.
So we're confirming.
That's it, man. But motherfuckers still want to believe, though. They've been fighting me on Twitter today about this shit, you know?
By the way, I will say this: why let's just say that that's how it looks like. What do you guys think that Sony? Well, obviously, no, this isn't it. But do you guys think Sony is going to go back to the router shell looking thing and just make it smaller, or man? Because I feel like they should kind of change it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think if they had any design sense, we wouldn't ended up with what we got in the first place.
Well, that is true. But the whole thing, I think Slim is just part of the whole ordeal. They need to make it better looking. And why? And white again?
The bump on the end.
Yeah,
and all
but again,
that,
this is bullshit anyway, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that I would say, like, and maybe I'm just being a cynic here, that the one thing that adds a touch of realism to me, like, yeah, it would make sense that it still has a weird hunchback. Like, because that's the thing that everyone, like, would kind of want to be like, can we just make this not look so weird and gangly and awkward? And PlayStation should be like, no, but it's smaller. That feels like the response that I would get, not necessarily from PlayStation or Sony, but just from, like, any hardware manufacturer. Like, I don't know. A lot of times I'm pretty disappointed in the form factor of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. All right.
I think the one that I really liked, and I'll give a fanboy shout out here.
Oh.
Like, I actually like the Series X concept. I like the idea of a tall chimney tower that pulls air in from the bottom and pushes it up through the top, because natural heat rising helps to kind of assist instead of trying to work against it. The one thing, like, motherfuckers, like, dust and shit lands on tables. Can we not get a removable, cleanable filter for our air intakes, especially if you're going to use one powerful point of suction? All right, I'm done.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Next question. Mighty Nerd dropped us one right now, so we'll answer it. With the rumors that Nintendo is releasing their Switch successor in their fiscal year 2024 year, which starts in April, and that they wanted Ubisoft to release their Mario Rabbids sequel on the Switch successor, do you believe that Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Hero was delayed until Q2 2024 for that reason? Who knows, man? Who knows?
Bro, here's the thing. Nintendo does not wait to be like, your hardware is outdated, buy more hardware. Like, they aren't going to do any of this system parity shit. The irony here is that we may see system parity on the Switch around the same time we start to see it on everything else.
Yeah. But for this specific question, who knows, bro?
Yeah,
did the first Eiyuden game even come out? I've been following that game, I'm assuming it came out. I don't know.
All I just want a new Switch that's just semi kind of competent to today's hardware, man. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Bro, it needs to be more than the Steam. Like I love my Steam Deck. But something very controversial here. Like, it's tough to play some stuff on sometimes. It's tough to get Baldur's Gate to run really well on it because the thing's got like a 1050 something like that in it. Like the fact that it has a dedicated GPU like that is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but like it's already kind of being pushed if you're wanting big AAA titles. Like it's not going to play the next Cyberpunk, but they're going to come out with another version on that. And so I trust that Valve is going to keep up with keeping it updated. And if you want to keep your Steam Deck updated, that's going to be totally available to you. Like, I feel like Nintendo needs to upgrade beyond that. Like, I don't want to see them come out of the game and be like, hey, here's a form. I feel like I'm using this word a lot tonight. Here's a form factor exactly like this other thing you have, but guess what? It's weaker and costs more money. Congratulations, it's a Switch 2. I don't want this. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bring me something else. Blue Ocean that shit. You can't just Nintendo of all people should understand that habitat has been taken, man. You cannot just come in and be like, we're going to do the same thing. Like there's too much competition there doing the same stuff.
Yeah, but the problem is they're still wiping the floor with the competition. We love the Steam Deck, but it ain't outselling the Nintendo Switch, you know?
God damn it, Tony.
It's true.
I keep wanting to believe and you keep dashing my hopes.
I listen, man, I would love nothing more to the Steam Deck to crush the Switch, but that's not happening, you know? It's
no, that's not even I don't want the Steam Deck to crush the Switch.
I do. But, you know, in my heart it has, but in reality it won't, you know?
No, I just want Nintendo to come out with something more competitive. Like, okay, put this in perspective. Like, my belief in competitive or competition has always kind of been the same. Competition is good for us, right? I think I've expressed that pretty regularly. I think I've been pretty consistent about that. So here's the thing. Nintendo, with their Blue Ocean strategy, intentionally seeks to avoid that competition. And in doing so, tries to put itself in places where it kind of has you over a barrel a little bit. It doesn't want to deliver a better console with a better experience, better games, at a better price point. It doesn't really want to do any of that. It just wants to be the only place that you can find Mario, and it's going to charge you $70. Like,
but it's working.
And that frustrates me.
I know. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. But the thing is, that strategy, which frustrates us, is making them a lot of money. So they're doing something right, you know?
No, I know. And let me ask you guys. Like, I know there's a lot of y'all in the chat who are big Nintendo fans. And again, I'm not the, I don't hate Nintendo. I grew up with them. I just kind of I haven't been seeing a lot there. I've been wanting delivered. So, like, is that okay? Like, do you guys want things to be a little bit more competitive, or is it just, I just need something to play my Nintendo games on? And if it's the latter, like, I'm genuinely curious why you're not more of an advocate for Nintendo just kind of developing for other stuff. Wouldn't that be kind of the best scenario?
I answer Brett's question in the chat, but Brett, we both know the answer to that. When it comes to Nintendo, they're holding on to those IPs like, with a vice death grip. I
know you and I agree with a lot, and we also disagree with some of the stuff inside the Nintendo sphere. Like, I'm not quite the cynic that you are, and like, Nintendo brought me back into gaming, man. Like, I love the Switch. I was the one that was saying the Switch was going to be a hit, but like,
yeah,
they've kind of just gotten complacent. I think the latest Pokemon is kind of, to me, the kind of crystalline. This is where we stand right now. This, we're underserving and overcharging a captive community, and I would love to see somebody light a fire under their ass and make them start kind of over-delivering, like we're seeing in other parts of the industry, like Baldur's Gate.
The thing is, and Chris can attest to this, Nintendo doesn't even look at what the competition is doing. They actively tell their employees, don't worry about them. We're the only ones that are in here. That's it.
Yeah, but like, okay, so but do they ever at any point like look at the monstrosity that this last Pokemon was and be like, woof, we did not do a good job on that. We
They
should
just
do
go
better.
Game Freak fucked up. That's what they say. Game Freak, you fucked up. Do better.
Yeah.
You know?
They just move forward. Yeah. They're not good. The introspection and competitive research are not in their vocabulary. It's not their DNA.
Again, this is coming from Brett. This is coming from a guy who worked at Nintendo, you know?
No, I know. And I believe it. It's just, it defies all logic that they even still exist. Like, I guess that's a testament to, like, the quality of their games, because logic and reason say Nintendo shouldn't be a thing as they currently exist.
Yeah. Brett, we got some responses here for your question.
Okay.
Mr. Jolly Yellow says, I'm fine with Nintendo in terms of hardware, largely because of pricing. Yes, Nintendo is holding those IPs for dear life, but at the same time, I can't lie and act like the pricing isn't attractive. So that's what he says. Logic.
Okay, so
go ahead, Brett.
No, that makes like, honestly, barrier to entry is something that has been increasingly fascinating me, because I started noticing it with playing Xbox when I had Game Pass. Well, I still have Game Pass. I'm just more bogged down with games now, but like, just having something that was already there to pay, that lower barrier to entry, honestly, I can see why it's appealing. And when we're talking about cost too, like, yeah, man, you can. It's low barrier to entry in terms of cost. It's low barrier to entry in terms of convenience. So no, I totally get it. That makes sense.
Logic Win says, from my experience, most Nintendo fans I come across get upset when I talk about wanting a better product. I have faced that myself. Blitz says, more power is always nice, but we all know it's not their focus. Mr. Jolly Yellow says, oh, by the way, Logic Win says the last Pokemon game, the one you was talking about, Brett, sold 20 million. So in Nintendo's eyes, we did well.
Damn it.
So there you go.
Yeah.
You know,
the thing about it, like the unfortunate thing about a lot of this is that as much as people feel about what the direction of Nintendo is, it doesn't match the reality of Nintendo. Whereas they can literally they can put out a mediocre product and it still will hit.
I don't think they're putting out a mediocre product. I think this new Zelda
Pokemon was inferior.
Pokemon was an mediocre product. And I'm saying like the thing about it is like what's protecting it is not only, you know, obviously Nintendo is known for making very well-made games. Like you can't say that most of those games that they have put out, even from from before, even on the archaic days of the Wii U, they weren't bad games. And I think that's the thing. It's like, and what is the thing that we always say? It's always the software that does these things
for Nintendo.
And it's obvious that they're already square with what the abilities of what their console can do, and everything else is just a little bit extra. Like, is anybody really buying a Switch for any of those other games that they put on there? With the ones that are like, hey, look, we put Call of Duty on there because Adam
was.
I don't think Adam is obsessed with Call of Duty, but I think for most Call of Duty heads, they're not going to give a shit.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
And I don't even think Nintendo fans would care either.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Let me read some more of the answers here. Mr. Jolly Yellow. Yes, Nintendo could be making hardware that really competes with Sony and Microsoft, but doing so would leave out a large segment of players who simply don't have the pocket spend to a $500 console. Very good point. Blitz says, tell Brett Pokemon Company came out and addressed issues and how they want to improve. All right. They came out today to say it. But again, it's like they sold 20 million copies. They don't give a fuck.
I will say this. The whole thing with Nintendo is not trying to be. We know they're not going to go back to. We're going to try to be on par with PlayStation or Microsoft or Xbox at this point. But the whole thing with the Switch is when it came out in 2017, it was lagging by a generation.
It was already behind. Yeah,
it was already behind, and we're still rocking that same old technology. That's not from 2017. That's when it released. That technology is from what, 2014, 2015? Yeah. I don't know, probably less. So that's my issue. And just going back real quick to something Brett mentioned, saying that it needs to release with hardware better than what the Steam Deck is. If they release a Switch Pro next year, it's not going to be on par with the Steam Deck.
No, it's not.
It's just not. They're not going to do that. And I mean, it would be great. I'd be excited.
Okay, so let me ask that at this point. So like this kind of ease of access, this portability, this low price point. What happens when Nintendo offers you something with a worse value than their Switch? When they're offering you something like, the Switch 2 is $450 for something that you can get the base version of the Steam Deck is better. So you can get something better for $300, where you can spend $400+ on a Switch. Does that budget attractiveness kind of still apply? Is it transitive? Does it then kind of be like, do we see a rush of people on Steam Deck because now that's the budget version?
Steam Deck doesn't have Nintendo games.
And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I kind of feel like there's more to the equation here, because even if they reach a lower price point, I'm not sure that you'll see people migrate away from Nintendo.
No,
I think it's just honestly more that they have these franchises that people are going to go like. And you can't really talk shit. I mean, they're honestly first party. They release more regular games than pretty much anybody else. At least it feels that way.
No, it doesn't feel that way. It is factually correct. That is true.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually do release more first parties than the other guys. Sometimes
it's like
combined,
It's like telling people who like to go to Disneyland every year that the strip club is better.
Yeah.
They're just not gonna go there.
Yeah, the strip club is better, but motherfuckers want to go to Disneyland,
It doesn't have Space Mountain, so there you are.
But they got Space Mountain in the strip clubs if you know where to look. But I'm read more comments here. Blitz says also need to realize not everyone cares so much about raw power. Gameplay is king to many, so as long as the games are fun, why keep wishing for something that's not going to happen? I mean, yeah, that's
because
pretty much.
Do y'all not feel like Zelda was held back? Do you not feel like it hasn't reached its whole? But and here's the thing: this is entirely possible because I tend to be the kind of cynic that is just a very disappointed optimist. So maybe I'm the one alone here. Am I the only one here? Like, wait, that can't be right. Like,
no, by the way, you're asking the fans
Nintendo
because you are in good company when it comes to everything you're saying about the Switch. Remember when the first Breath of the Wild came out, what did I say? I said this game would be so much better on actual competent hardware. I've been saying this thing for 6 years. The Switch is a piece of shit. And I think
it because in my heart of hearts, like I believe that Nintendo has the talent to do. Like, I see in this a subpar version of what I think they could have done. And I think the heart of that is that I'm really kind of being like, you guys have the talent. You have the talent to do more than this. This game, even this latest one, like, as awesome as it is, it's still reined in. It's still held back. You are still working in confines. And maybe you guys work better in confines. Maybe that's where the magic happens. I can't really judge your creative process, but what I can say is, like, holy fuck, the things that you guys do with the stuff that you have makes me believe that, like, if you just had a little bit more, and I played it, I had the GameCube, man. Like, I was part of that generation where Nintendo was pushing and innovating, and it was fucking beautiful. And I feel like they can still do that, but I don't feel like they're living up to their own potential. And I think that's where I get frustrated.
Yeah, but
maybe it's me.
No, but real quick, the GameCube, everything you said is true. That was such a failure for them that they decided to go, okay, we're not going to focus on hardware anymore. So it's not making us money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm apparently one of those people that, like, when I approve something, it's a sure sign that it's going to fail in the market. So who knows? Maybe you shouldn't listen to me. But I just want to see one day that unbridled Zelda. You know what I mean? That one that could really just do everything that it wants to do.
I mean, the Zelda in the N64 days was, cutting edge. The whole thing with Zelda, by the way, Tears of the Kingdom is a great game. You're not gonna, no one can deny that it's not a well-made game. But, and to do a callback, the issue with it, it's like Tony's voice right now with his new mic. It sounds good, it makes sense, he's clear, but it's a little tinny, and I feel
A
like
little
Zelda's
bit.
graphics are a little tinny.
I would disagree with that. I would say it's a lot tinny in Zelda's case. A lot fucking tinny. You know, if
Well,
we're
yeah.
using that regard, it's a lot smeary. You know, it's a lot blurry.
And-
it's a lot Vaseline smeared on your screen. You know,
Well, and especially when it's like a sunny day in the world, the whole thing with my issue with it is I don't have an issue with the gameplay mechanics. The story's shit, so I don't care about the story. But the graphics are part of the immersion of the world, and that's my issue. It's like you can do a lot better to make me, immersed into this world if the graphics were 50% better. I'm not saying that you need to make this PS5 on par with the PS5 and Xbox Series X, but you're still the gap between what the Switch is and what the PS5 and Xbox Series X is leaps and bounds. And if they release the Switch Pro, I don't think it might not even meet it halfway, and that's what scares me.
It won't. It'll be PS4 level at best. And to what Blitz said, it's like stop hoping for something that's going to happen. That's what I've done. Listen, you got to give me credit. I gave Nintendo another shot after like 13 years of not messing with the company. I played the Switch. I'm like, okay, these guys are obviously not going to do the things I want, so I'm done with them. So but you can't fault me for that. I gave them a shot. They're just not the kind of company that I like. They make shitty hardware, and I don't like their games, so I'm done. But I gave them a shot. Another one. So fuck Nintendo. That's all I'm saying. All right, moving on here. Jay Shep, first one here. It appears that yet another Xbox game, Forza Motorsport, will launch incomplete, similar to Halo Infinite. Can we thank the Series S for this, or is this all thanks to Game Pass? The last part I want to bring up right away. I don't understand how Game Pass could affect the game's quality. That's weird to me. Like I know within some circles, people believe that Xbox Game Pass automatically means lower quality games, and I still can't wrap my head around that one.
I get it in the sense that like I get a conspiracy theory, but like I don't agree with it.
Please, even if it's a conspiracy theory, enlighten me because I don't understand that.
Okay, why would they be incentivized to make, like playing devil's advocate here, why would they be incentivized to make good games and deliver a fully finished product when it's just going to be delivered on a mediocre service platform that you're already kind of subscribed to and they can't tell numbers from? There's no motivation for them to do a good job or do anything other than mid, and so you can probably just expect mid at best.
Is that the theory behind it?
I think that's the general.
He's being the devil's advocate.
No, Brett. Because if that's again, I think that's silly, and I know you're playing. I think that's silly, but I can at least understand it.
I think that's kind of the consensus. Well, why would Forza deliver a good Game Pass game? Like Game Pass isn't meant to be good; it's a McDonald's cheeseburger. Yeah. Why would they bring you quality? Yeah. And the response to that is because they want you to use the service. Right? Like they're not just going to like pump you a hot steaming garbage and hope that you keep subscribed. They got to keep you compelled.
Yeah, Brian, what's up?
I just wanted to add to that. I really don't like that argument because I think it's just a very bad argument because the same thing can be applied to. So take everything that Brett just said about why game devs should be incentivized on doing anything, but then replace Game Pass with pre-orders. So why should game developers be incentivized to make a good game when they can just put out the pre-orders and then that's where most money is made?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I think the real reason this game's because no split screen. The second time we're hearing this, it goes back, on the subject of weak hardware. The Series S. That's the only
Series S.
Series S, man. And again, and if you guys have been listening to Throwdown, we have been consistent on that. That is an underpowered system that should never have been released. I've been saying this shit since day one with that fucking console, despite what some of these idiots on Twitter are saying. They can't get Baldur's game dismissing one game and you're dismissing the console. Like, no, I've been saying this since that fucking console came out, you motherfuckers. It's a piece of shit. Listen, I'm consistent as fuck when it comes to it. I don't like the Switch because it's underpowered. I don't like the Series S because it's underpowered. Don't release underpowered shit. It's fucking insulting, you know? Anyway, go on.
Series S is worse because it's holding shit back. But I just want to say, like, not only have we been consistent about it, but we've talked about it, and we've come to a general consensus as the only in terms of like the only solution that you have to fix it is to shore up your streaming. Like, I don't know how much more we can think through this process out loud than be like, yep, here's the problem. We've identified the problem. We proposed a solution to the problem. Now we're just going to sit on our hands while you do nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, PS5 it is underpowered compared to PC, but it's fucking powerful console, and that's like the benchmark. That and Series X are the benchmark for the console generation. So anything under that is unacceptable, you know?
Honestly, man, it's all relative. It really is. Like
yeah.
The
I mean, in the grand scheme of
PS5
things, yes, but it's like if you can't compare a PS5 to a fucking Series S or a Switch, you know?
Well, no. Like if you cut the Series S, then you would have another thing holding it back. There's always going to be the lowest common denominator that's still kind of grouped in the main grouping that's going to be holding everything back. The difference is the discrepancy here, right? Like the Series S is so wildly underpowered compared to the other two, honestly, fairly weak. Kind of like I'll be honest, man. Like I just brushed up on my chipsets, and it was weird to kind of go back and read through like, oh shit, like. The hardware in all of this generation is really not. I mean, it's not great. It's not great, being real honest. It's kind of silly. So when we're talking about like, oh, this is more powerful, we're like, I mean, like, yeah, that's
again, we're just comparing consoles. If we throw PC's just fucking obviously going to blow everything out the water, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like I didn't realize how far ahead of our current hardware PCs had gotten, I guess, until I just looked and I was like, holy fuck. That is okay. So we're like arguing who is the stronger speak and spell at the shallow end of the pool is basically what all this comes down to.
That's why you got to go. That's why we're talking about weight classes. You know what I'm saying, Brett? Yeah. You know, we're in the middleweight class right now. You know, PC's the heavyweight, you know?
Yeah. And the thing is, you need to we just need to cut loose the lightweight, right? Sorry guys, but like the Switch can survive off its own releases. Nintendo is going to be just fine. Microsoft, you fucking cut that albatross off, right? Like get fucking rid of it so we can have some good. This is why we can't have nice things, right? Like you keep trying to go out, you keep trying to be like, we're going to do we're going to try harder and be competent, and we're just going to kind of drag their little brother with us down the fucking street. Like guys, I don't want to say you're so close because honestly that's not true, but like you're kind of doing it, you're getting there. Just maybe take off the leg weights that are dragging you down, because fuck, it is holding the whole industry back single-handedly.
I mean, it's to be honest, it's only really holding back Microsoft.
Xbox, not holding back the whole industry. Sony's doing just fine.
Yeah, like I think the thing about it is like
Baldur's Gate is still coming to PlayStation. You know,
on the one,
it'll come to Xbox eventually.
No, I'm saying it's coming up. There's coming to PlayStation first for a reason. You know,
on the one,
so it's not holding PlayStation back. Anyway, Manny, go on.
On the one end, the thing about it is that. The one end, it is the lower priced console, and it is one of the things that was actually doing better, for Microsoft, essentially getting having that lower end version of the console. So there is that side of it, but then to be honest, the biggest mistake that Microsoft ever made was saying that that every the cross parity, right? Like if they alleviate themselves from this silliness, right, and don't have it set to where it releases on everything at once, I feel like it would be a lot better for them, in the long run. So now you have a delay on Baldur's Gate because of the plain fact that these guys don't need to devote more time into essentially, essentially pulling all the bells and whistles out of the game so that the game can actually work on this thing. To be honest, what they really should do is they really should just say Xbox Series X it launches first. Later on, kind of like what they do with PC. Later on, what you'll do is they'll put it onto the S, and if they can't get it on the S, throw it on streaming. Kind of like what they do with Switch, because they cannot, obviously I know they want to catch these things while they're hot, but their underpowered console can't hang. It's like trying to, and you're expecting parity between them. No, I'm sorry. All of these things need different development. Need development, especially if it's not working out. So just cut it down, and then release it later. Or if you want to do a little something like, hey, you can get it via their supposedly advanced streaming service that they got going on there. Then why not get it on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's their only play.
So, like, my thing would be, like, what if you did it like this? So, obviously, you don't want to have supposedly multiple versions, right? You don't want to be like, hey, buy the S, there's a Series S version. So what you do is you have people buy one version of the game, right? Then you have that, if they decide to upgrade to the Series X, they have that Series X version, right? The really nice, whatever version of that. But if they really want to play it on the S, it's either going to be streaming, and if they can get it working on the S, then you can get that S version, as opposed to this other stuff going on. But again, it's sort of like when a lot of companies were essentially not wanting to give up, to stop releasing games on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Previously. Yeah. And, we're still getting PlayStation 4 games, by the way.
I mean, so are we just part of the old guard? Like, are we slowly marching into a world where generations don't exist and everybody's fine with that because everybody's happy, everybody has games, and everybody's making more money? And then we're just the grumpy assholes in the corner yelling at clouds. Is that what's happening?
Well, I mean, to be honest, didn't Microsoft say there is no generations?
Yeah, they specifically said that.
They said there's no generations. So, but to be honest, like, obviously, Nintendo Sony still believes there's generations, because that's part of their business plan.
Yeah, they said that too, but we saw what happened.
Yeah, I agree with you, Manny, but I take offense at you using the word obviously in there.
Yeah, real quick, I want to read some comments in here. Logic Wins. He says, we have to remember that Nintendo didn't create the Switch with the intention of it doing extremely well. The Switch 2 will be created with the intention of success. I think power will absolutely be a focus for Nintendo this time around. Logic Wins to you, I say, you poor, sweet summer child. If you really believe that.
I disagree with
No, I disagree with that as well.
You sweet summer child, you.
It will never. It's never until as we said before previously, after the GameCube generation, it's never been.
Nintendo dropped out, and it made them money.
It made them money. Like they were doing hotcakes on an ancient on the what was it on the what was it, the Game Boy Advance and the DS and the DS Lite. All that stuff was old tech. Same thing with the Wii. The Wii was just a GameCube with motion stuff in it. That's why you could easily throw GameCube games inside of a Nintendo Wii, and they all work perfectly well.
Yeah, it even had GameCube controller ports in there because it was all native hardware. It's all the PowerPC hardware from the GameCube.
Yeah, so
just used all over again.
So what we're like for what's next for Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch-ish thing is probably going to be something on par with an Xbox One or a PlayStation PlayStation 4.
Yep.
Which this current console is about as powerful as possibly a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, the current Switch. Better. Yeah.
Okay, here's why I'm frustrated, and I know that I'm about to say, like, well, if Nintendo would just look at their competition, like, I understand
they don't care.
I know. I understand 4 words in how stupid this statement is, but I'm still gonna fucking make it, right? If Nintendo would just look at their competition and realize that the S is bogging the whole thing down, and they don't have to be faster than the bear, they just have to be faster than the S. It's not a high bar.
I like that analogy, but again,
Faster than S.
Nintendo is watching the bear eat the guy while they're on another mountain trail. You know, like that's it. Real quick, I want to read what Blitz said. Yeah, go ahead. I know, Brett. Again, I understand for sure to be absolutely just accept that Nintendo is not even in the same room with the big boys. They're somewhere else.
But they could be. They could,
but they're not. But they're not. You know how I get about the Kuds. They're not. They don't care.
I know.
You know?
It's a choice. It's a choice.
Yeah.
Because like honestly, like we have a $300 low price point set for both handhelds with the Steam Deck and hardware with the Series S. That stuff has actually been dropping in recent times. Nintendo could come in and still being Nintendo grade cheap. Like, let's be fucking honest, they've never broken the bank on their hardware. They could still make out like fucking bandits and cross that line.
Okay, you know what, bro? I'll beat you halfway. They could, but they won't.
Nintendo. That's what I'm afraid of.
They could, but they won't. You know, they make a lot of money going third party. I'll tell you that, but they're not going to do it. Ain't going to do it. Never going to get 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 it.
I get Blue Ocean, but at the same time, like you are closing yourself off from an entire third party market.
They don't give a fuck. They don't care.
They're
making enough money on their own. They don't give a fuck.
Here's the thing: if they would have to
money on their terms, by the way, you know,
they would have
to an American company that makes no sense. What do you mean you've made enough money?
They would have to do as bad as Sega in order for them to make a change like that. They would have to fail so abrupt, so badly that they would have to essentially do what Sega. But I think.
You mean like they did right before the Switch?
Well, the thing about it is like they. Well, what was it? No, they didn't fail before the Switch. Oh, I mean,
the Wii U, the Wii U, yeah.
The Wii U. But I mean, if you think about it, like, well, that Wii U was considered somewhat more advanced. But I think the one thing about that is, I think that because they decided to essentially go lower end, that sort of saved them. You know what I mean? I think they went back to their to like, hey, we should just drop this. I think the other thing about the Wii U is the brand confusion about it.
Yeah, that was what killed it. Yeah,
the thing that nobody knew what it was. Was it a tablet? Was it a console? What is it? So it's like I think everybody gave them the answer when they were like, wait, why isn't it the tablet? Shouldn't it be the tablet? Can't you take the tablet somewhere? And they're like, oh shit, yeah. Yeah, next one, we'll do that. You know what I mean? Like we gave them the answer for that silliness.
Yeah, but in fairness, if you look at it from the context of this is a really advanced handheld, it's they actually did go pretty well on their hardware from a handheld point of view. Like it was one of the more advanced.
Oh, yeah.
Other than like the PSP, like that thing was like the high watermark.
They definitely went. The thing about it, and this is the thing that we got all bogged down with language when this silly thing came out because they didn't want to call it a handheld because they had another thing at the same time, the DS doing gangbusters. So they didn't want to essentially shoot it in the back. So what they did, they were like, it's a console you can take on the go. No, it's a handheld
that you can plug
that you can connect to your TV.
Yeah. All right, let's start moving on. Good discussion about Nintendo. By the way, real quick, so I'm still getting a bunch of responses for my tweet about, because I said that PlayStation consoles bullshit. Here's another good point somebody said. If that thing was real, the video still wouldn't be up. Sony would have pulled that shit.
No, they would have literally, like, here's the thing. Like, they would have literally pulled that stuff. Like, some people have posted, like, and
Sony has a history of pulling shit if it's real.
Shit off.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's like, why is that video still up?
Yeah. The same reason why Nintendo didn't pull those Switch videos down.
Yeah, because it's not it.
Yep. All right.
Still don't think it's 3D printed, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a questionable portion of it on the bottom that he sort of like, that feels very 3D printed.
Oh, well, yeah, but there's other stuff that you can, like, maybe it's like
there's quite, like, I think, and like, if, like, number one, if you had this and I love the, bad quality video, usually
I love
helps,
it all the time. Yeah.
It always helps. I mean, number one, if you had this awesome looking, this thing, wouldn't you take better fucking pictures of
Yeah.
it? You look at that guy's Twitter account, right? You see pictures of his, him, looking at chips and essentially opening up controllers and shit like that. Those are fucking amazing looking pictures. Why the
He didn't
fuck
have time, Manny. He had to get it to the people.
Oh my god! Like no way, man! Like what did he do? Just run out of the like he walked into the back room, took a real quick picture to put it back. Come on,
and then just
man.
running out with the people must know, and then
they must
uploaded it.
know. Like
It's
no.
great. Yeah, it's stupid. By the way, last comment, Blitz, he nails it, man. And remember, I agree with him, and I don't like Nintendo, but he nails it. He goes, funny thing is, people so concerned with power as road to success hasn't worked for Xbox. It's true. Nintendo found their niche and has worked in a way Xbox could only dream of. No price cuts and still selling massively in its 7th year. People on here can bitch and moan, but the wider gaming consumers have spoken with their wallets. Yeah. I can bitch about Nintendo all day, every day. What I say doesn't fucking matter because they're making bank. That is a fact.
Yeah. Also, hold up. There is a big middle ground between being budget focused and power focused, right? Like don't lose the lead here. It's not that Nintendo should come out and be high powered or the most powerful. Just less in last place. It can still be in last place, just less
technologically, because they're still in first place when it comes to sales. Yeah. No.
I meant in terms of power. Like, look, I don't need a powerhouse, right? I just want something that's a little bit more like maybe this generation. Like I don't need a Lamborghini. I don't need a Porsche, but I'd like my Pinto to have both doors.
Yeah. All right, good discussions on Nintendo tonight, man. All right, moving on here. Another one from Mr. J. Shep. It was announced for the upcoming Gamescom that neither Forza Motorsport nor Starfield will have playable demos for the public. After hearing the news about Forza, that it has no split screen, are you guys still confident that Xbox isn't hiding anything concerning about Starfield? We kind of talked about this before.
My belief on that, all of that stuff is they're just gonna push it as close as possible to the end.
Yeah, because we were asked a question about that. It's like, should we be concerned that the game hasn't gone gold yet? That game ain't gonna go gold until at earliest a week before launch, if it even goes gold. It might even be a couple of days before launch. They're gonna do it until the last second.
So let me ask: if this game was being problematic and whatnot, wouldn't they just curate an experience and show you that?
That's what they're doing.
They did that. That's exactly what they're doing.
They're doing curated experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a question: when has Bethesda ever had any of their games on a floor? Because last time I remember, they didn't have a presence at any E3 beside their little showcase.
Bro, Starfield. I feel can you imagine trying to demo Skyrim with that fucking wagon ride?
Yes.
You would get nothing but an internet.
I don't recall Skyrim.
No, well, remember they wouldn't start it with that. They would start it somewhere in the middle where it'd be interesting.
They started with somewhere in the middle with some actual answer. But yeah, I don't recall Bethesda. I don't remember them ever having a presence on the E3 show floor.
No, remember with Fallout 3, they had a huge presentation.
You're right.
For G4. Remember, it was like a 20-minute demo and shit. And that sold out. And then
could you play that on the show?
No. It was Todd Howard playing. It wasn't open for everybody.
I suspect that in general, I don't know for sure because we went to the E3, but I don't remember seeing any of those games on the show floor.
Oh no. Playable, no. So it's kind of in line with what they do,
Yeah. So it shouldn't. To be honest, traditionally it shouldn't concern anybody because if what was it when they announced when Fallout was going to come out, right? They literally announced it. First time they announced it was on the stage, and they said it was coming out in what was it, in October or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was coming 4 months later. Yeah.
Yeah, there was never a demo for that game on the show floor.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a good point. Yeah.
So this was in this case, for at least for Bethesda on that game, they're just like, all right, we're just going to keep showing you gameplay stuff, but we're not going to let you play it until it actually comes out.
Them having a playable Starfield demo would actually be going against the usual that they do. You're right. It would be different.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like the whole point of these games is to kind of build your own thing, get immersed, and build your own story. Like, you can't engage with it on any of the right levels in that kind of setting. It just, to me, would be like one of the worst games to demo. And I love the games, but just, yeah, you put it on the floor and you're like, here's 20 minutes with Starfield. You're just gonna be like, I don't know, man. I wandered around a little bit. There was a spaceship. I shot a guy.
I also think that like that also leaves it open for things to break. And to be honest, that's what they don't want. They don't want despite because I think a lot of times they'll put one thing when they opened E3 to the public and people were playing like unfinished builds or stuff like that, they're like, man, this game is all glitchy and messed up. Yeah, it's because it's an early game.
Yeah.
So to put that in front of put an unfinished product in front of people who don't know and know the difference between it's just what they see. Remember that thing with the Grand Theft Auto leaks?
Yeah,
like,
Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks, and people were doing videos examining it. I'm like, guys,
examining it.
What the hell are you doing? It's not even an alpha.
It's not done. It's not even. It's an early version of the game.
This game sucks. They're doing T-poses.
So essentially, So essentially, to put that in front of people who don't really get that sort of what the difference between a completed build and an early build demo. I think that is literally calling for, could cause a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And that's, I want up you on that. They're not just people who you don't want to let go free right now. There are people who are absolutely 100% motivated to intentionally break it so that they have bad news to report. Like,
yes, exactly. So I think that's their reasoning why they are keeping it close to the chest until it's released. Is really the smartest thing they can do with a game like that. So yeah, guys, don't when it comes to Bethesda, there's not going to be any demos for their games. They're going to come out and then you're going to play it then, and then you're going to realize all the things that it's got. But for Forza, that's an interesting one because
it's a racing game.
It's a racing game.
Yeah.
But I also feel like maybe there's I mean, who's developing this one again? This version of Forza?
Is it the
same company that's doing Fable?
I'm not sure. Did they change developers?
Well, no, because you remember, like, they have two different companies doing Forza games. There's the arcadey Forza game, and then there's the simulation.
Yeah, this is this is a simulation game.
This is the simulation one.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one of those two is the one that does Fable. So, yeah.
All right, let's move on.
But they could be doing the same thing where like they just want to continue to fix it all the way to the end.
Turn 10 Studios is developing it.
So is that the same? Who's the company doing Fable now?
I'm not sure.
Let's find
out.
Is it
Playground?
It might be.
Yeah, it's Playground.
All right, so there you go.
Okay, so it's not. So yeah, okay. So
I'm looking at Turn 10. The only games they've ever developed are Forza Motorsport games.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. All right, moving on. Ace Ali, he took a J-Shep question. He's sponsoring a J-Shep question, so thank you for that.
Ace Ali.
Why are so many PlayStation fanboys championing Baldur's Gate 3 as a PlayStation console exclusive? Because it is.
At least for now.
For now, it is. And fanboys, they need ammo. They'll take any ammo they could get, bruh. They take any ammo. So that's why. You answer your own question because they're PlayStation fanboys.
Well, they're also celebrating the win of, like, it's kind of like a, look, PlayStation can do something Xbox can't do. Like, yeah, PlayStation can do something Xbox Series S can't do. That's like bragging about beating up somebody's younger brother.
Yeah. But it's just bragging around. It's like, oh, we got something you don't, because your hardware is weak,
Yeah, it's to be honest, don't pay attention to any of that sort of stuff. It's just like, it's not people that like legitimately. Or I'm sure a lot of these people that are all like, "Hey, this is going to run on the PlayStation." Half these people are probably not going to even buy the damn game. So
Yeah.
just be you just like if you're an Xbox fan, you got to wait. I'm sorry about that, but at the same time, and then you got your PlayStation guys who obviously Baldur's Gate fans. You get to play the game. That's all. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, the irony here is kind of the Microsoft's install base actually got it a month before PlayStation did.
Oh, how so?
PC.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
They did. I mean, yeah.
Are you
And then-
not
and
playing
here's
it on
and-
Microsoft Windows?
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. That's a good one, Brett.
No, it officially launched on a Microsoft platform first.
Yep, you're right. So how about that, PlayStation fanboys?
Yeah, and it most definitely will run better than it does on a PlayStation.
Yep. So there you go. What are you bragging about, dumbasses?
There you go.
All right, let's move on here. Alpha Chuck. All right, I had a discussion in the Throwdown Discord. You already know. This week, he goes, I had a discussion this week about personal game favorites and how the length of your gaming career affects that. After 3 decades of being a gamer, I find it increasingly difficult to pick a true singular favorite. I can make a top 10 or 15 list easily, but struggle to rank the games in a definitive order. There are too many factors to consider, such as nostalgia, context of games being separated by multiple generations, recency bias, recency bias, etc. Does anyone else struggle with this, or am I just being weird? So yeah, do you struggle to make a definitive top 10 games that you love?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, at the top of them is Elden Ring.
But that changed too, didn't it, Brett?
Yeah, like
Elden Ring was not there before, No,
it was kind of funny. Like I was talking to Tony in real time as it happens. I was like, "Is this like my favorite game? Like this is my favorite game. I think of this series, and that's my favorite series of this genre." And that genre is kind of one of my favorite genres of games. Tony, is this my favorite game? It was, dude, it was hard to swallow. And like you saw it happening to yourself in real time. You're like, have they actually released a game that's like surpassed my expectations? Is this what the future is? Is this that moment I'm going to remember and bitch about in 10 years and say, why can't we go back to that time? I'm kind of having one of those moments with Baldur's Gate, man. I'm like, fuck. This is going to be the thing that we look back and be like, yeah, but you play Baldur's Gate 3?
Yeah. My top 3 has pretty much been solidified for like 16 years now. My number 1 game's been the same for 20 years. Hasn't changed. And the number will change. Metal Gear Solid 3. My top order is Metal Gear Solid 3, Mass Effect 2, and Uncharted 2. Right, that's it. But no new games have really entered the equation in the top 10 after the PS3 era. That's when it starts to get a little wishy-washy. So, yeah. So, but I do agree. After the 3rd game, then it kind of starts wobbling around a little bit. I may be like, you know what? I like this game more now. I like this game more now. So it's so you're not weird in that respect. It's just what are you feeling that day?
I think it's easy to put things in the top 10. It's tougher to put them in order.
It's the order that, because I'm the same way, but I eat top 10, 15, no problem. Put them in order after 3, that's tricky. So he's not alone in that, That's when it gets tricky.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, Brett, literally the games could be all the same games, but your order may change, from day to day, So, yeah, you're not alone, bro. You're not alone.
Although I will say, and I'm not sure if I'm the only one here, but like...
Am I the only one?
Every few years, I feel like I kind of add a game that, like, there's a lot of games that I've played that I've surprisingly added to the list. And unlike Toady, they don't really stop after a certain point. Gaming's kind of progressing, so it actually makes it easier to kind of be like, oh, this game is fucking fantastic.
I would say this, it's slowed down because Red Dead Redemption 2 was obviously from last gen. That creeped into the top 10.
Yeah, dude.
you know?
Yeah. I don't know how that one doesn't slip in there.
Yeah, that was like, well, that motherfucker rode that horse right in there, you know?
What was
This generation hasn't happened yet, though. Not yet for me. Go ahead, Carlos.
Hey, let me.
Go ahead, Carlos first, and then you, Brett.
the question was? Do you, what's your top 10?
No, do you have a hard time ranking your top 10 in a definitive order?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I think what you guys mentioned, the whole thing with the after 3 or after 4.
Yeah,
that's the hardest part. So because for me, I'm not as set in stone as Tony is, but it has been pretty solid for like the last decade plus. It's Mass Effect 2, it's Fallout 3, it's Halo 2. Those 3 are pretty much. I don't even rank. I don't even know where each of them ranks, but they're up there. But shout out to Brett. I think he mentioned this game earlier. One that is probably in my top 10 now is Elden Ring. Elden Ring is probably top 10 favorite game of all time.
Oh wow!
It's one of the more recent games too.
Yeah.
A game like God of War Ragnarok, I feel like it was a contender, but I just couldn't. There's no way I can get it into top 10. Yeah, I mean, it is difficult to rank. You just start thinking about all these games that you love, and but yeah, I mean, like Tony mentioned, after probably the 360 generation, they just started trickling at that point.
Yeah, because there is some, like, if I'm being honest, that Red Dead to Dragon Quest 11, really good stuff. Brett, what were you gonna ask? What were you gonna say?
I want to ask a follow-up question.
What up?
Like when we're all done.
Why is?
We're done. Go ahead.
God damn it! I'm trying to remember now. Just fuck it. Move on.
All right. What's up?
The Last of Us. I know for none. It's gonna.
That's not even in my. Yeah. Go ahead, Brett. Before you forget.
Okay. Sorry. Like, have you guys ever had a game where you knew it was in your top 10 while you were still playing it?
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Or was it? And afterwards? And like, I'm curious. Like, how far into a game do you know? Be like, oh, this is going in the Hall of Fame.
Literally,
like, is it an hour?
Literally within the first hour of Red Dead Redemption, like that's top 10. Like that, literally, like holy shit! This is crazy.
When you were in the snow and you were like, this shit looks like top 10.
Yeah, because you could just tell the quality. Like, yeah, this is it. This is it. And obviously, the game just got better and better and better. And then you get to that ending, it's like, fuck, Oh, so good.
Adam's like, I knew it was top 10 after that trailer come out. Well, Gears is like,
Gears, I heard that song.
I mean,
go ahead.
I mean, Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2. Excuse me.
That's one of them. I mean, I think
Uncharted 2 for me too. That train, when you're climbing up the fucking train that's falling off the mountain, bro.
Yeah,
and that was just the intro.
I mean, Uncharted 2 is crazy because Uncharted 2, if you guys remember, I think it was at E3 where they showed Nathan Drake getting into the water and his clothes were wet. And I was like, dude. And not to include the falling building sequence, which was just fucking crazy.
The witchcraft they packed into that fucking console to make that shit work is I don't know how many orphans they sacrificed.
That fucking game killed my fat PlayStation, man. I can't no more,
I know why.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mighty Nerd mentions God of War 3. Is that on anyone's top 10? I think maybe Brian.
Yep.
Yeah, I think after the first boss fight, that's when when you kill Poseidon, that's when this is top 10 material, and it just never lit up since then. It was just okay, it just gets better and better and better. The only thing I didn't like was the Daedalus fight or the room. I wasn't really a big fan of that, but everything else was just this is good. And the thing that gets me every single time is that final fight with Zeus, the way that it goes from 2D and then goes 3D and then go inside of Gaia. It just seemed escalate further and further you go in the fight. It's this is good. This is a final boss fight. It has all the essence.
Yeah.
It had that one. It had the Hercules one. It had
Yeah,
the
man.
Medusa one.
That was some
You
good
get a-
shit.
You get it definitely for that game. I felt like it felt like the end. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it felt like there are like, okay, after all that other stuff that we did, those previous games, we're taking this up to the last level we could possibly do.
Manny, in a lot of ways, it was.
It was the end of the series.
Yeah, right.
At
It,
least that
it,
version.
it was the end of that Kratos, and I'll be honest, man. Like I like old Kratos way better than I like new Kratos.
Yeah. God of War 1 is still my favorite game in the series. The first one from 2005, that's still my favorite game in this entire series.
Yeah.
So
I know
fucking
three
good,
was dude. Like
no, 3 was fucking legit. That is in order. That's my second favorite God of War. 3 was fucking
I think-
nice, man.
but, like dude, like think about like there is hitting the ground running, and there's being shot out of a goddamn cannon, and like that the latter is what God of War 3 did. And they're like, hey, we immediately cranked everything up to 11, and you're like, how are you going to escalate from here? And they're like, we found a way.
Yes. Oh, so good.
Yeah, and then essentially the whole like first person killing.
Yeah, that was great.
thing.
Just
Oh,
fucking
God.
smashing Zeus's head. Oh, so good. All right.
And you can keep doing it.
Yeah, you can. You don't have to stop. You can keep doing it until, whatever. All right, moving on here. Another one from Mr. Alpha Chuck. How did Diablo 4 go from a good game getting great review scores and good press to the constant negativity I see online everywhere now? I have played my fair share with a level 60 character before Season 1 dropped and just recently got my Season 2 character at level 50 for context. That's nothing compared to some players, but enough where I can say I have dug into the game and have thoroughly enjoyed my time with it so far. Is the negativity coming from a vocal minority with other people piling on it because it's the in thing to do?
I feel like, and before I'll go before you, Brett, because you're more knowledgeable about this game. I will say a lot of the same types of things that I've been seeing about this game have been said about every single Blizzard game. Every single Blizzard game, they change the meta, and they buff characters. They switch character. They make characters weaker, and a lot of things change after every update. It happened to me in Heroes of the Storm. It happened in StarCraft 2. And it happens in World of Warcraft, and it just something changes the meta, and a lot of people are not happy with it because they put in hundreds of hours into a certain play style, and they just can't really do that anymore. And I feel like that's a lot of the negativity. But Brett knows a lot better.
Oh, it's been a lot. Okay, so like, gonna sound like I'm gonna come across real negative here, so I'm gonna give you a couple caveats. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not gonna be a gatekeeper, but that being said, the reason that you're having a good time is because of your playstyle and level range. That's kind of what they designed it around. The sweet spot is really like 50, 30 to 60, right? Because like 30 is when you start getting, your feet under you, start getting some new abilities. 60 is when things start getting kind of samey. The experience kind of planes out. It gets real grindy. And things just kind of stop changing, mechanically speaking. You're pretty much the way that you're playing mid-60s is the way that you will be playing through level 100. Same button presses, same combos, same pretty much everything. The only thing that's really going to change is some of your numbers. So a lot of people kind of plane out around then. So that's kind of like the whole. I'm going to give you multiple layers to the answer. That's one. That's a whole group of people that are upset because they're no-lifing it and the game is not accommodating to them. So there are definitely those people, but there are also people that say, like, you kind of like just stop developing the game at World Tier 4. Right? World Tier 3, jump to World Tier 3, lots of new mechanics, lots of new challenges, lots of new gear. World Tier 4 is World Tier 3 plus more damage modifiers / nerf. So, okay, cool. in my opinion, though, that where they're having so much controversy is the tone-deaf nature of the developers. So, like, for instance, from day one, they put gems in your regular backpack, and they take up so much goddamn room. They gave you 4 or 5 tabs of space. Clearly so that they can sell you more inventory space later, but they don't have that part up and running. And the fact that all of your gems, each of it, like, you can have 4 different cuts of topaz, and they'll stack in a stack up to like 10 as long as it's like the same kind. But you end up with like one of the 4 tabs of your bank just filled completely with fucking gems. And people have been complaining about this since day one, right? They have made so much fucking money, and they can't seem to find a way or the time to put a goddamn gem tab into fucking Diablo. It's not goddamn rocket science. It's just one more gem tab. But you know what they told us? They told us they get it kind of figured out around the beginning of season 2. So that's them saying, yeah, we're gonna get to that in 3-4 months. Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll get to it. You can deal with it in the meanwhile. In the meanwhile, however, introducing a brand new season that gives you different kinds of gems to stuff up your fucking bags. But here's the real tone-deaf bit. Every time that people start doing something that they consider fun, power leveling their friends, finding an exploit, doing this new loot dungeon, blah, 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 doing this other thing, Blizzard fucking snaps in there like the goddamn fun police and locks that shit down within a matter of like 12 hours. Yet people had been waiting for months for basic quality of life fixes. Hell, people have been waiting for months for basic classes to be fucking unbroken. Sorcerers' resistances scale off intelligence, but they don't actually scale in the game as it is. And now they're making balances around that, so they're going to buff the sorcerer around their broken scaling, and then they're going to fix the scaling sometime late. Like, it's just, their priorities definitely seem to be drawing people out. They lengthen the amount of time that it took to like go from dungeon to dungeon. They lengthen the amount of time that you have to spend going through your inventory and looking at it. They're refusing to add basic quality of life shit or even streamline some stuff that would be really helpful. I mean, they have acquiesced. Like the big thing that they've kind of calmed down on was you can now teleport to your nightmare dungeons, and you don't have to do the altars of Lilith seasonally. But the community has just been pushing back, and they have not been listening. They've just been kind of smug and distant, and every time people will start having a good time, it feels like they go in and they stamp that shit out. So not only do you have a game that is fun but flawed, which is a dangerous fucking combination because people want to play it and they get mad that they can't, right? So you have that dangerous combination, and then on top of that, you have these kind of tone-deaf reactions that not only seem to not resonate with the player base, but exacerbate. Like, everybody was talking about how during levels 70 to 90, for instance, it took too goddamn long to get through there. The experience spike was too severe, and that people getting one-shotted by enemies in high-level nightmare dungeons, so that the danger was kind of it wasn't scaling the way that it should, and so people were it was taking them forever. Like, just getting from 85 to 100 is the amount of time it takes to get from 1 to 85 is the amount of time it takes to get from 85 to 100. And that scaling just felt awful. People didn't like it. And so they were kind of expressing this very clearly. And Blizzard came in and nerfed everybody and said, okay, y'all have less power in the game, now it takes longer to do. Also, you're going to get one-shotted more often. But don't worry, this is actually part of a fix that we're doing where we kind of have to balance some stuff out. But we're doing all the bad stuff now, and then we're going to balance and give you more power back later to kind of make it more fun. But we promise we'll never do that again. We'll only do the bad stuff along with the good stuff in the same patch next time. So I'll be honest, man, like, and you can hear, like, I'm trying to be unbiased, but it's coming out more and more. The Diablo fan in me is coming out, where I'm like, God damn it, y'all fucking run by just amateur. It's just fucking amateur hour over here, and you've got so much goddamn money. You've got so much goddamn money, and then to, like, go off and do this kind of shadow fucking jutsu bullshit where it automatically places your cursor / button to renew your season subscription. So people are, they're not just clicking it accidentally. It is specifically designed to be clicked accidentally, which is a dick move. The whole thing is a dick move. So there, you have developers who are kind of pulling exploitative tactics, tone deaf with their audience, actively ruining the mechanics of the game, making it harder to engage in order to draw people out, trying to lock people into seasonal mechanics in order to artificially inflate its base player base with stupid fucking errands in the season pass, like accessing your wardrobe 4 times. It's not quality content. It doesn't feel like it. I guess the tagline is Diablo 4. It feels kind of bad, man, and that's why all of those reasons are the reasons everybody's upset. It actually has very little to do with the basic core mechanic gameplay loop. A lot of people are really happy with that. They're really happy with the season 1 mechanic. Like, they're really happy with the season mechanics, and they're really happy with base mechanics, and they really enjoy playing the game. But that's why this other shit gets them so riled up, like, oh my god, okay, the last thing that happened, okay, I swear this is the last point. The last thing that happened was they actually did a stream with 2 of their developers playing the game, because it's kind of been like an inside joke in the community, like, dude, do these guys even play their own game? High-level stuff seems wildly unplay-tested. It just feels fucking janky and doesn't seem like a lot of this is very well thought through. So it feels like they, not only is the experience not catered to this level of play, but it kind of feels like they didn't do a lot there. And so they did they did a stream with the developers where the developers were max level 50. That's your max base level in World Tier 1, easy mode. So they were the max level that you could be in easy mode before you have to go to an X mode to start getting harder, right? So, and they were running a dungeon, and I'll be honest, they sucked. They just sucked, and it is okay to not be great at games, right? That's not a fucking crime. Nobody's forcing you to get good. We can all just enjoy our shit and go home happy at the end of the day. But if you don't have the level of skill to emulate that which your players are going to be playing, then you can't adequately balance the fucking experience, man. So, like, just a lot of people are really pissed off to see the developer that bad at the game. And even little things like they were clicking over and over and over and over again to attack. You can press and hold to attack. That's the thing, that things that just make it feel like not only like you just haven't engaged with this system for very long, because even the small shortcuts that automatically come to us and the small habits that we automatically build and process, they weren't there. The muscle memory wasn't there. It was just screaming, I have not done this before. I don't do this often. And I am the one that designs these dungeons. Which kind of explains that tone-deaf fucking feeling that a lot of people have been getting when they're just like, we reduced, people were getting too much experience, so we reduced the density of mobs in dungeons because people were just hurricaning through and killing whole hordes of people, and they were gaining too much experience. And people were like, isn't that kind of the point? Kind of a power fantasy, come in and just wreck dozens of goblins at a time and get a bunch of money and treasure and experience and renown, and everybody claps for you. And they're like, yeah, but if you keep the murder tornado going from here to there, you get too much experience. So we're going to put 3 goblins here, and then one's a little down the hallway, just far enough that by the time you get there, your murder tornado kind of runs out. So you can't really just murder tornado through stuff anymore. That you're leveling too quick. And I don't understand why any game would be like, you're leveling too quick, you're progressing too fast, you're having too much fun, you're killing too much stuff, you're doing too well. We better fix the world and make sure that doesn't happen anymore. So, yeah, there's what attempted to be a kind of unbiased answer that ended up in an angry rant. So do with that what you will.
Oh, man.
This is my TED Talk. Thank you for coming.
Love it. All right, moving on here. To make it, got a question here. With the ever-increasing move to an all-digital gaming future, do you feel the days of consoles being collector's items are quickly fading? And will we see current retro collections, games, and consoles continue to increase in value, or will digital access just devalue everything?
Yes and yes.
Yeah, I mean, aren't we already seeing? I mean, we're already seeing those game prices go up exponentially, for retro games. And some of that is because
that was because of the pandemic.
Yeah, but even before the pandemic, retro games were already going up because, from what I understand, Metal Jesus talked about this. Like, there's a lot of collusion going on. Let's just say, for example, I find an unused copy or whatever of like Super Mario Brothers or whatever, right? And I go on eBay. I'm selling this shit for $30, right? Then these dudes are gonna hit me up. No. We're selling that for $400, sir. You better jack up that price. So apparently there's a lot of that going on too. So
wait. They don't just buy it and then turn around and jack up the price themselves?
What happened?
So they don't just buy it and then turn around and jack up the price themselves to resell it?
No, because
they actually make the person sell it for more?
Yeah, they tell you, like, look, we're all selling it for this. You better braise it up,
There's not only that, and there's also the so-called appraisal business, which is also a bunch of bullshit too. Where they you send it to their company and then they like say, hey, it's a X grade. It's the same bullshit that was going on in comics. It's going on with games now too.
I'm sorry. I'm just having trouble wrapping my mind around it. So there was a room for rife exploitation and base capitalism, and something else happened. I'm sorry. That just really confused. Like, why do people just not be like, yeah, that game's worth $30, buy it and then sell it for $400? Like, that almost feels there's an opportunity for something worse. So I don't know how to put this into context. Like, yes, it sucks. It is definitely artificial market manipulation, but at least you're not fucking over the people who don't know what they have.
Yeah, but you're fucking over the people who want to buy a cheaper copy. There's not going to be any cheap copies because these guys keep jacking up the price artificially.
Yeah, okay? and that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know what to, because like it feels like somebody's trying to be ethical towards sellers and they forgot about buyers. Like, I can't really tell you which side of that is good. Like, yeah, if you're just trying to sell your $400 copy of the game for $30, is it ethical for somebody to just come up and be like, hey, yeah, I'll give you $30 for that, knowing it's a $400 thing? Is that person taking advantage of, like, we get into ethics at that point. And I can't, at that point, the waters are honestly so muddy that I don't, like, it sounds bad at first, but is it really worse than, I guess, taking advantage of somebody who doesn't know what they have? Both feels like shitty positions. I'm going to say they're both muddy watered equal enough that I'm like, yeah, I'm not touching that one, man. Like, I'm not going to try and tell you which is right. That feels like some cloudy ethics right there. So,
yeah. All I know is from the consumer standpoint, it's like you're kind of fucked,
Well, I mean, you can't take advantage of people who don't know better. Is that good or bad?
No, but you as a consumer can't get a game at a cheaper price because these fucking idiots are.
No, that's what I'm saying. You as a consumer, but it's not getting. If we're talking about like a $30 game, like if we're talking about like a super steep discount, like you can say it's the consumer getting it at a cheaper price, but also you're buying something from somebody way under market value. Chances are they don't know that.
and
Or they
I know
selling
what
it,
you're saying
you
with
know?
the shady stuff because it's like they're all colluding to artificially bring the price up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it also kind of sounds like it could be in the guise of like Tony, you're sitting on a street corner selling a copy of Final Fantasy III for $40, and I come along and be like, bro, you know that's a $400 game, don't you?
Yeah,
Like,
I know what you're
I'm
saying.
doing the same thing.
Yeah, but I think because you're looking at it more positively than I am. I'm looking at the negative aspect of it.
No, I'm looking at it like devil's advocate.
It's like I'm selling this and then 10 dudes show up. Yo, you better jack up the price or we're gonna fuck you up. It's like, don't ruin it for us, bro. It's like, oh shit, okay, fine. You know,
Dude, that is one interpretation, but I don't know if that's the correct interpretation. It could also be like, yo, bro, you know what that's worth, right? Like, and the truth is probably somewhere between those two things.
probably. Yeah, but
I don't know where. I don't know where enough to be like, damn you. Like, okay, cool. So I guess people aren't being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good thing. I don't
But
know
you are
whether
taking a stance. That is your stance. You say it's a good thing.
My response is like, if it's between, you know, it's somewhere between the two where you're gently reminding somebody the worth of what they have versus artificially inflating the market. Like, both are bad. Both are also equally not bad. It's a whole gray situation ethically. I don't really give a shit. That's what capitalism is, man.
Yeah. But in some of these cases, it's not that, oh, that game is actually worth more. It's not like you got Action Comics #1. It's just like, hey, that game, we all decided that's going to be really expensive now. Regardless of what it's actually worth. That's what it's being claimed that's happening. Understand?
Okay. So we are actually, it's not that we're kind of setting a market standard. We are actively lowering the floor of cost.
No. Raising the floor.
Excuse me. We're actively raising the floor in an artificial manner. Okay. That is bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Brett. I'm not talking about, oh shit, yo, you got the gold copy of Zelda. You better. It was like, oh, you got Dragon Quest 2. We all decided it's $1,000 now, even though you could just get that fucking game anywhere. You know.
I'll just be straight up honest, because I got integrity. The countdown on day 9. Anyway, so as a tattoo artist, there is a definite agreement in the city that you don't charge below, you don't undercut the floor of the industry. I don't really know if I don't think somebody's gonna come and beat your knees, break kneecaps and shit. But, generally, it's one of those like, hey, don't be a dick and undercut everybody else, because there's 2-year artists here trying to make a fucking living, and we don't want to do what happened to the fucking comic book industry. Because that's the other part, man. Like, if you don't kind of, do that and you just let things run wild.
Brett, I don't think you're understanding what's happening here. It's like, imagine the tattoo world. They decided, no, we're all gonna raise the price on this shit, and if you don't comply, it won't be good.
Yeah, no,
that's what's going on. You know,
that part is bullshit.
Yeah, like we're all raising the price on tramp stamps. You know, it's still like that. But anyway, to go back to the heart of the question, are old consoles gonna not be collector's items anymore? They still will be for some people.
They'll still be collector's items. It's just the seal. Again, like the comic industry. It's it's like it's equivalent to like owning an Action Comics #1 sort of deal.
Yeah.
It'll become that sort of idea. Whereas before it would have probably been like, hey, I mean, to be honest, there's also still a lot of things that are reasonably priced, and you can still find stuff. You just have to look a little harder. And obviously, Chris. I remember Chris went to that gaming convention down in where he is at, and he's just showing me some of the prices of some of the games that he used to ran into, like $1,000 for a copy of Snatcher that doesn't have the booklet or the original casing. It's just the disc. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, I feel like yes, Snatcher was a very rare game, but is it really worth $1,000?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But anyway.
All right, let's move on. Mob hits. Okay, let me finish this question first, guys.
Oh my God!
Let me finish that, and also let me be the first to answer it because I got a snarky answer. Sorry, I got to do it. Mob hits. First question. And again, let me finish this, guys. Sony PlayStation has won the console war with 100% of the majority agreeing. As we enter the cloud war, who do you see winning this war? You just said Sony is winning by 100%, so they won, right? No one agrees that Sony has won the console war 100%. I talked to the Xbox guys. They'll tell you a different story, you know?
Wait, can you read that comment again? I don't think I didn't.
All right, Sony PlayStation has won the console war with 100% of the majority agreeing. As we enter the cloud war, who do you all see winning this war? Brett?
I mean, it's got to be a troll question, right? Like 100% of the majority is a nonsensical statement.
Yeah, and also who is winning the war? But you just said they won the war 100%. You know,
I feel like this is some
but Mob Hits doesn't troll question. You know, he's not.
Okay. So let's give the benefit of the doubt and try and break down. I mean, he's in the chat, right? He can just clarify.
Mob Hits, are you there, bro?
I think the crux of the question is who's going to win the cloud war. That's the crux.
We're definitely getting.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's parse that. Let's just use that as the question because, like, again, you just said they're winning 100%. Everybody agrees, but then you ask who's winning the war. But it's like, but Sony already won the war according to you.
The cloud war. He's talking about the console war at first, and now he's talking about the cloud war.
All right, so you should. I think that's probably the question. It's just. You know, I didn't edit that one. I left it as is, you know.
Okay, if you're saying Sony has pretty much dominated the open market with hardware, who's going to win the cloud wars? Like,
I think that's a good way of seeing it. Let's go with that. Let's go with that question.
I guess that would be the one person actively or the one company actively competing in the cloud wars.
Yeah.
I guess Sony has subscription services, but like. They just toe dip, right? Like that's all that is.
Well, I mean, in terms of cloud, Microsoft has the best infrastructure out of the three. I mean, they are providing their own. They're providing everyone else's infrastructure, right? Azure, they have set up, nodes and everything all over the country, all North America, whatever. They have. Farms everywhere, so they're competing on a level like they're trying to outdo Google and Amazon, right? That's where they're competing on that level. So they can offer services that everyone else can't. Sony and Nintendo have to lease cloud from someone else, right? They have to find providers. Nintendo's not trying to set up server farms and whatever and run their cloud. Neither is Sony. As a matter of fact, Sony is leasing Azure to do PlayStation. So in terms of who wins a cloud war? I don't know who can provide the most cloud services. It's Microsoft.
Yeah,
inherently.
So, I like Chris. You mentioned mentioned Nintendo's not going to want to do all these data centers for their own cloud. It's like I'm pretty sure they save all their passwords in a TXT file in someone's thumb drive somewhere.
It's on Miyamoto's computer. It's on his desktop. To passwords.txt.
By the way, I like what Logic Win said, with regard to the question, who's going to win the cloud war? He goes, not the gamers, that's for sure.
Oh.
I love it, man. That is
not the gamers.
I love it, man.
Not the gamers and not Google.
Here's the thing. We're already getting the bad parts of it, man. Like, I want to say the same thing, but like, was Netflix really bad for watching movies? Like, I kind of feel like I watch more movies. I don't necessarily like the current landscape of streaming services, but
it's not the thing. The thing about it is, it's like it's not a bad place to watch films or things like that. But I think the thing about it is there's the fine line of becoming the zeitgeist platform. Yes, there's a bunch of different platforms, but all of them are losing money right now because
Okay, yeah.
because they can't keep up with the and I think even to this day Netflix is still the star, despite
And I think-
every
Yeah.
single one of those guys out there trying to essentially hit that market. But I feel like the go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, that's like I'm talking more like from a consumer standpoint, because like, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, the metrics of how they're standing or anything like that. But like, this is the takeaway I look at it. Like, Game of Thrones was something kind of on a streaming subscription service. It was part of that group of things looking for an audience, looking to bring people in. And in having existed, it kind of revolutionized long-form storytelling, I would argue, as we know it. Like, it's definitely had its impact. So I don't think it's all bad, is what I'm saying. I think that having the kind of streaming landscape opens up certain possibilities. A lot of them bad, just not all of them. That's kind of all I'm really getting at.
But also the other thing is we're talking about cloud gaming, but to be honest, there still hasn't been a platform that has effectively been able to do streaming gaming.
Yeah, well, I think that's why
obviously as good as Microsoft's platform is at providing streaming gaming. If you notice, a lot of their games are not like stream games. It's a very low. It's not as many as you would think.
What do you mean by stream games?
Talking about in other words, talking about there's cloud gaming is cloud. Isn't that also just games that are on the cloud? That's buying your games. That's also having your service on Game Pass. But you're not playing all those games, within the cloud, are you?
No. Well, no.
You're downloading them.
I don't necessarily.
No, you play them on the cloud. Like, I can attest to this because that's how I played Extra Primal and pretty much every single Game Pass game I played the last 2 years been through.
So
most of them.
So these weren't ones. These weren't ones that you downloaded, right?
No, again, I on my Steam Deck, I literally have an Xbox xCloud thingamajig,
okay, yes,
and then just goes through.
You're right.
Yeah, like I said, Brian's the authority here. He's been streaming for a hot minute.
Streaming to Steam Deck.
All right.
But
It's a hell of a combination.
Streaming to Steam Deck. I mean, to be honest, SX Series S, you could stream. You guys, you don't need to have everything on there.
Well, that's Microsoft. That's my tinfoil hat theory is that's Microsoft's position right now. Is like, okay, how do we kind of convert our Series S audience into streamers without being like, yo, your shit's too weak, we gotta stream now. Like, how do you package that bitter pill as something that goes down a little bit easier?
I mean, to be honest, I was going to say the best way to do it is essentially if they bought that game, right? Or if they have that Game Pass game, you'll still be able to get the downloaded version. You just can't download it on the Series S. And if you ever decide to upgrade it, all of your stuff goes over. I mean, to be honest, Microsoft's actually been the best about keeping all of your save data, consistent between platforms. Like, what was it? I was playing, Hi-Fi Rush on 2 different computers, and it just instantly updated the other one when they didn't match. So, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on.
Who wins the streaming wars? To be honest,
No one.
The cloud wars, because to be honest, I feel like the only I guess Microsoft by de facto, because their system is actually quite a bit better than what PlayStation offers. I don't know. But then again, I don't know any of the numbers of who's on PlayStation Super Plus. You know what I mean?
I'm actually going to push back against the statement of not the consumers. Motherfucker, I used to walk through the aisles of Blockbuster looking at the backs of games which were intentionally trying to deceive me with the worst screenshots and the most distracting bullshit fucking ever. That shit
Yeah,
used to be
fuck
a
you, Sub-Zero.
fucking gamble.
10.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
the
like
only
we're not in a worse place now. I'd say we're in objectively a pretty like a better place. Maybe I'm just the guy be like, I had dirt floors when I was a kid, but fuck, do y'all remember the aisles at rental stores? Do you remember just looking at the back of shit and being like, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, it gives you a good chance to test things out, but I mean, at the same time, like, you know, as supposedly worldly, you know, that Microsoft's platform is, their fucking store sucks. Like, it's really difficult to find anything that's new or anything that you want to find because everything is fucking curated on their stupid thing. Like, it's difficult to find the all button, where you can literally scroll down and look at every single title that they have available on their thing. So, I don't know. It just, like, I understand why they do those things like that to try to, you know, push people towards specific games. But I feel like, just give me the all button. Stop fucking around sending me all these different things of, you know, flashing advertisements of what's there. Because most of that shit I don't care about.
Honestly, I want him to go both. I want him to go both directions in it. Like, here's the thing: give us the choice between default, blank. Here's everything organized, almost Windows-esque, and then full Cortana mode.
Well, so what Cortana mode is where it tells you what it is.
Dude, I'm telling you,
it just
next
speaks to you.
generation is going to be integrating AI, and I'm telling you, mark my words. Look into my fucking crystal ball. They've owned that shit. They are going to use that shit. An Xbox console will probably come with an onboard Cortana AI eventually.
Don't they already do?
Well, did Microsoft kill Cortana?
Cortana's still on my computer.
I thought they killed. I thought they were killed her. Or
yeah, I thought as an assistant they got rid of her.
Yeah,
I think isn't Bing like the
I think Bing is just the assistant now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just saying no.
So does that mean we need to?
Yeah, Cortana's dead. Yeah.
So Cortana and Clippy, man, Microsoft, you suck.
10.
Killing off your little characters.
Yeah, here it is. Hey, this is written by a site I'm familiar with, Tom's Guide. It's official. Microsoft is killing Cortana in favor of AI. Well, there you go.
Well, wasn't Cortana AI?
No, just a digital assistant.
Yeah, she was a fake. Like they got rid of the product Cortana, not the concept Cortana.
Couldn't they just make Cortana AI?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They'll do. Like when you hear that they killed Cortana, they killed like the product they called Cortana. This stupid business language. They killed the product Cortana, the service Cortana. The concept Cortana is still an IP right that they own.
Yeah,
that's like being like they killed Spider-Man. They could bring Spider-Man back.
I mean, like,
so this is what it says. This is directly from Microsoft. The headline is "End of support for Cortana in Windows and Teams."
Oh, okay. So yeah, she doesn't.
That's Microsoft right there. You know.
But how come Cortana still appears on your fucking screen? Has it disappeared yet?
I don't know.
Maybe if you're running Windows
10.
I'm
wondering Windows 10. So
that's probably why.
Obviously, she's not alive in Windows 11.
Yeah.
Not on mine.
No, not in mine either.
You know, man, that's the second time they killed Cortana, man.
Yeah. All right.
This is Cortana.
All right.
I need to save Cortana.
Yeah. Next question here from Mr. Mob Hits. Which has seen the least and most amount of growth? Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, or Mortal Kombat 1? Can't answer it because those two games, Tekken 8 and Mortal Kombat 11 or 1, haven't come out yet, so we don't know. Can't answer that. All right.
I will say this: Street Fighter characters keep bulking up every fucking series.
Yeah, right. Like, you know,
they're Gears of War characters now.
It's
Ryu's turned into a Gears of War character.
Yeah.
Ryu is more bulkier than Blanca was in Street Fighter 2.
You know? Yeah, so ask us that question again after all these 3 games are out. All right, and the last one. Now this one is another Mob Hits. I was going to give it to Citizen for no reason to sponsor this one, but he's not here. So I'll ask it. Was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 purposely rushed out to get Sony out of the marketing deal? Do you think it's fair that this seems like a straight-up season pass DLC instead of a full-on new game? I don't know enough about Call of Duty to answer this question.
Let's hold on to that question.
Brian,
hold on to
Shooter
it.
Man, tell us.
Yeah, no, we'll hold on to it. 'Cause I think this question's gonna be
Brian.
relevant. Brian, if you want to answer,
Brian,
it, go
tell
ahead.
us about Brian,
I think
Brian
that's-
tell us about Shooter Man.
I think that's more for Adam because I've clocked out. So
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
you're no longer Shooter Man. All right.
no,
Yeah, we'll
after
save
that
it. We'll save
saga,
it.
I just no.
Yeah,
After that saga, no.
yeah, I can't blame you. I mean, I never care about Call of Duty anyway. We'll save it for the leftovers. And
Put
yeah,
it in the throwdown back burner there.
yeah. Literally just leftover questions, All right, we're done. Another good show. Good stuff. Do we have anything to plug? I'm gonna take that as a no.
Let's see. Dominican Day Parade.
Yeah, right. Mangu,
Mongo Day. That's today. Mongoose Day.
Brugal, All right, yeah, we got nothing.
Presidente.
Yeah, Presidente. Yeah, right. Shit. Yeah. All right, people, we're done here, man. Make sure you follow Gong Gong,
Hong Kong.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Anyway, make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversations and the rumors are always popping. You can also check us out on your favorite podcast platform, Throwdown Show. That's towards Throwdown Show, throwdownshow.com to listen to previous episodes. And if you have been watching us on the YouTubes and enjoyed the videos, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when our premieres go live. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
And Brian Manjoma.
Larry people.
Right, guys, you already know. Thursday, later.
Peace.
Laters.